This is a 1970s Aria bass. I got it from a guy who deemed it unfixable with this crazy action. Usually the problem in these guitars is that the top gets detached from the rest of the body around the neck joint area, especially due to neglect and low adhesive quality. First thing I did was take off the neck and then take off the neck pickup so I could see better what's going on around the neck pocket. The next thing I did was try and figure out the extent of the damage to that area, and while I was trying to figure out how to solve it, I decided to go for other parts of the guitar. And while I was removing the strings, I felt the tuning keys were very stuck. So I thought it would be a good thing to start with, so it would make all the work on the guitar a bit more easy. Taking care of the tuning keys required basically taking them completely apart, straightening them up a bit, cleaning them very thoroughly, and greasing them up a bit so they would move smoothly. I also marked all the parts of the tuning keys so I could keep them in order and not mix them up. One of the tuning keys required a bit more work. It was more bent, so it required more than just cleaning. Then I just went out and polished the headstock. So the first phase of reattaching the top back to the neck block was removing all the old glue. The fretboard was also starting to come off, and as you can see, it was coming off really easily. Up to the 9th fret it came off with zero effort. Initially I thought maybe I would just glue that part together, but as you can see, it's really hard to clean over there, and also when I tried to dry clamp it, I couldn't get really good contact between the parts, so I decided to just remove it completely, clean it up, and just glue the entire thing properly. As you can see, the truss rod is reinforced with a steel bar over there. Makes this neck very heavy and also very stable. The plastic binding on the fretboard shrunk when it was off the neck, so I used some super glue to fill in the gaps. After doing that, I decided to polish the neck. Also, the screw holes on the neck were a bit loose, so I filled them up with a wooden dowel and some tight bond. After the Tide Bond was dry, I added some super glue to top it off and then sanded it back down. I'm wet sanding the neck and I'm gonna get up to 8,000 grit. Also after that I'm going to do some polishing with a polishing compound, but that was off camera. Now the electronics. Everything seemed to work in order and I just cleaned all the pots and the switch, but I decided that even though the jack was fine, I'm gonna put a new one, so I chose a Switchcraft. Now it's time to polish the body. This is a polyurethane finish, so it didn't really lose a lot of gloss over the years like Nitro would do, but still it required some polishing. Now it's time to install the electronics. I'm threading wires through all of the holes for the pots and the switch, and also for the ground wire. That would help me pull them into place without wiggling them too much. This wire got tangled a bit, so I had to rethread it, but once I did that, it was pretty easy. This pot was a bit more difficult because the washers just decided to break formation. So I had to find a way to put them back where they belong. Eventually I used a magnet to realign them, and it did the trick. The ground wire was a bit short. I should have just made a longer one. It would save me a bit of hassle. But I got it out eventually. The pickup selector was much easier than the rest of the parts. Now it's time to solder the pickups back. Now all the electronics is back together, and it's time to reassemble the guitar. I'm re-drilling the holes that I filled, and then I'm threading them with the screws so it would make the installation a bit easier. Now I put back the old strings, so I can check if everything's in order, and also I'm gonna leave them on the guitar for a while to see whether the neck moves or not after this fix. And now it's time to test the guitar. I left the strings on the guitar for a couple of weeks to make sure it was stable. So now I'm making a new bow nut to replace the plastic nut that was on the guitar when I got it. After cutting the slots and shaping the nut, I start to polish it. I polish the nut itself, but also the slots. I get up to 3000 grit just to make everything run smoothly there. Now it's time to make the truss rod cover, which was missing when I got the guitar. I'm using a clear PVC sheet to trace the shape of the truss rod cover. Then I'm crafting it out of 3-ply pickguard material. Now it's time to tend to the bridge. One of the previous owners of this guitar decided to put some kind of plastic sheet underneath the saddles. I guess it was to get rid of buzzing, but I'm gonna do it in another way. The plastic sheet actually got fused into the metal and I had to use acetone to remove it completely. This bridge was missing a lot of parts. Some were crucial, some were not. The springs were crucial in my opinion, so I put on new springs. The tailpiece ornament was made of bare wood, so I decided to give it a nicer finish. I'm gonna use beeswax, actually. Now it's time to put on the new strings, and I bought short scale bass strings and I realized they were a bit too short, so I'm gonna need to get new strings for this guitar. But it works like this, and the music that you're hearing throughout the video is recorded with those strings. So I guess it's fine, but I am gonna get new strings, don't worry. Thank you for watching.